Ladies and gentlemen, most people don't fail because they're not capable. They fail because they think too small. They dream in fragments, plan with fear, and act with hesitation. But the truth is, the size of your thinking determines the scale of your success. If you want an extraordinary life, it begins with an extraordinary vision. Think big, think wildly, think unapologetically, because your future can only grow as large as your imagination allows it to. This isn't just motivation, it's mental architecture. Every skyscraper of success begins in the unseen blueprint of your mind. If your thoughts stay stuck in limitation, your life will mirror that limitation. But once you expand your thinking, you unlock a future filled with potential, power, and purpose. Here's the hook. Your thoughts are either your prison or your passport. And most people live inside a prison built by their past, by the opinions of others, by fear, or by what society told them was realistic. But the ones who break through, the trailblazers, the leaders, the game changers, they refuse to accept average. They don't shrink their dreams to fit their environment. They stretch their minds to build a new one. Thinking big isn't about delusion. It's about decision. It's about deciding that you were never meant to play small, settle for less, or simply survive. You were designed to thrive. The moment you start thinking big, everything shifts. You ask different questions. You seek different mentors. You notice new opportunities. Your energy changes, because now you're not just reacting to life. You're designing it. You're no longer begging for change. You're commanding it. When you think big, you become a magnet for growth, a force for progress. You stop being intimidated by problems because your purpose is too big to be bothered. You realize that small minds will call you crazy, but future-minded leaders will call you courageous. That's the difference. That's the mindset of those who create massive impact. And don't wait for permission. Don't wait for clarity. Don't wait for the perfect plan. Big thinkers move with bold faith. They trust the vision even if the path isn't fully clear yet. They understand that big ideas evolve, but the decision to think big must happen now. That's the spark. That's the fire. That's what separates those who watch history from those who make it. Think about Elon Musk launching rockets when the world laughed. Think about Oprah, who was told she'd never make it on TV. Think about every innovator who was once dismissed as unrealistic. Their vision was too big for small minds, and that's exactly why they succeeded. Here's another hook. Playing small doesn't serve the world. Dimming your light doesn't help anyone. Thinking small may feel safe, but it's silently suffocating your potential. It's not humble to hide. It's selfish, because there are people waiting for the impact only you can make. There are lives you're meant to touch, ideas you're meant to birth, and breakthroughs you're meant to lead. But it all starts when you break the mental ceiling and decide that you are no longer available for anything less than greatness. You've got the dream. You've got the fire. You've got the vision that sends chills down your spine. But now what? Here's the truth. Dreams mean nothing without movement. And that movement doesn't need to be flashy, loud, or perfect. It just needs to start. This is where so many people get stuck. They think they need all the answers before they begin. They wait for the stars to align, for the fear to vanish, for the plan to be perfect. But greatness doesn't start with grand gestures. It starts small, it starts messy, it starts now. Here's the hook. Start small or stay stuck. Too many people kill their momentum by thinking they need to leap when all they really need to do is take the first step. That step could be writing the first page, recording the first video, sending the first email, making the first call. It might not look like much to the outside world, but that small action creates a ripple inside you. It tells your subconscious, I'm serious. And once you take action, clarity follows, confidence follows, progress follows. You don't need to see the top of the staircase to take the first step. All you need is to move. Because motion creates momentum, and momentum is the antidote to fear. Start small not because you're thinking small, but because you're building big the right way from the ground up. Every skyscraper has a foundation buried beneath the surface. No one sees it, but without it, the whole structure collapses. That's what starting small does. It builds your foundation in silence so you can rise in power. Here's another hook. Starting small is how giants are built. Look at the greats. Steve Jobs started in a garage. Amazon started with a single book. Nike started by selling shoes from a car trunk. Nobody starts at the top. They build their way there, step by step, failure by failure, brick by brick. What separates them isn't luck. It's their commitment to keep building when no one was watching, when the applause was silent, when the rewards were invisible. When you start small, you gain control. You learn faster. You adapt quicker. You make mistakes that don't destroy you. They strengthen you. It's not about being perfect. It's about being present, being in motion. You can pivot. You can refine. You can improve. But you can't do any of that if you're still stuck at the starting line, paralyzed by the size of your own dream. And here's what they won't tell you. Small steps stack fast. Today's 10 minutes become tomorrow's 2 hours. Today's simple skill becomes tomorrow's mastery. Today's tiny decision becomes the habit that changes everything. It's the compounding effect of small actions repeated consistently that transforms you from dreamer to doer. And once that rhythm takes hold, once those small steps become second nature, you start to move with unstoppable force. Because now, your vision is no longer a concept. It's a reality in progress. It's alive. It's active. It's in motion. Everyone wants the lifestyle of the rich. Freedom, power, abundance, choices. But very few are willing to adopt the habits that got them there. Because here's the raw truth. Wealth isn't about luck, it's about mindset, discipline, and strategy. It's not about acting rich on the outside. It's about thinking rich on the inside. When you act like the rich, you're not faking it. You're programming yourself to operate on a higher level. This is where most people miss the mark. They chase shiny things instead of sharpening their mind. They try to look successful before they learn to become successful. But real wealth begins behind the scenes, in the way you think, the way you move, and the way you respond to life's challenges. Here's the hook. Rich people don't hustle harder. They think differently. They don't spend time. They invest it. They don't focus on spending. They focus on scaling. They don't ask, can I afford this? They ask, how can I create this? That shift right there is what separates financial freedom from financial frustration. Rich people aren't lucky. They're strategic. They understand the game of leverage. They know how to use time, energy, relationships, and money to build systems that work without constant effort. It's not about working more hours. It's about working with intention, precision, and vision. Look at their daily habits. The rich read. The rich plan. The rich protect their peace. They prioritize their mind before they prioritize their grind. Because they know that without clarity, hustle is wasted energy. They guard their mornings, limit distractions, and spend their energy on things that compound. They ask better questions. They get around smarter people. They study trends while others scroll timelines. This isn't about arrogance. It's about alignment. It's about designing your life to create wealth instead of reacting to life and hoping it works out. Here's another hook. If you want to earn like the wealthy, you have to learn like the wealthy. Rich people are addicted to growth. They invest in coaches, courses, and connections. They're not afraid to spend money on their evolution because they know the best investment is in themselves. While others see cost, the rich see value. They don't say, I can't afford it. They say, how fast can I learn this skill and make it work for me? That's the mindset that turns ideas into income. Rich people also understand emotional control. They don't make impulsive decisions. They don't let their emotions drive their financial actions. They know that patience, logic, and long-term thinking are what win the money game. While others panic, they position themselves. When others chase trends, they build timeless value. They've trained themselves to think in decades, not days. That's why they win even in uncertain times, because their foundation isn't built on hype, it's built on habits. And most of all, acting like the rich means taking ownership. No excuses, no blaming, no waiting for a miracle. They know no one is coming to save them. They become the solution. They ask, what am I doing daily to increase my value? What habits am I building to attract success? How am I positioning myself to create freedom, not just survive another paycheck? When you act like the rich, you take control of your future instead of leaving it to chance. Most people treat time like it's endless, like it can be wasted and recovered later. But the truth is, time is the one currency you can never get back. Once it's gone forever. That's why the truly successful, the wealthy, the elite performers treat time with reverence. They master their minutes like millionaires manage money, intentionally, strategically, and with relentless precision. If you want to live a rich life, you have to value your time like it's the most expensive asset you'll ever own. Because it is. And while others are spending it, the successful are investing it. Here's the hook. How you spend your time reveals how much you value your future. Look at your calendar, look at your daily routines. Are you building your legacy or are you entertaining distractions? The people who create extraordinary results don't have more hours in the day. They just own their hours. They don't allow the world to hijack their attention. They guard their mornings, protect their focus, and move with clarity. They operate with intentionality because they know time wasted is opportunity lost. They understand that the way you live each hour is the way you build your destiny. The rich don't start their day by reacting. They start by directing. Before the world wakes up, they've already won. Whether it's through journaling, planning, reading, or exercising, their mornings are structured for growth. Why? Because how you start the day shapes how you dominate it. They know that most people wake up and immediately surrender to chaos, to emails, to social media, to other people's demands. But those who rise above know that if you don't run your day will run you. Here's another hook. Time is a mirror. It reflects your priorities. What you consistently make time for is what you truly value. If you're too busy for your goals, you've prioritized comfort. If you're always putting off your dream project, you've made distractions more important than progress. Harsh truth, maybe, but liberating if you let it sink in. Because once you realize you're in control of your time, you stop making excuses and start making moves. Rich minds treat their schedule like a sacred blueprint. They plan their weeks in advance. They batch tasks, eliminate low-value activity, and operate with urgency. They delegate what doesn't require their genius. They say no often, not because they're rude, but because every yes to something meaningless is a no to their mission. They are obsessed with optimization, not out of anxiety, but because they understand that time is their most precious leverage. And it goes even deeper. Mastering time means learning to detach from busyness and focus on effectiveness. It's not about how much you do, it's about what moves the needle. The rich don't glorify hustle, they glorify results. They track their progress, reflect on their performance, and constantly look for ways to improve. Every hour is a decision. Will you move closer to your vision or drift further from it? They choose progress, not procrastination. They lead their schedule instead of following it. They know the difference between motion and momentum, between action and impact, between busy and productive. They refuse to let their time be stolen by distractions, drama, or doubt, because they understand it's not about having time. It's about making time for what matters most. Most people focus on what they can get. The successful focus on what they can give. That's the shift. That's the mindset. The people who truly thrive in business, wealth, and life understand that value creation is the gateway to everything you want. You want money, deliver value. You want influence, offer value. You want lasting success. Become someone who makes life better, easier, faster, or more meaningful for others. When you focus on becoming a person of value, the rewards, money, respect, reputation, freedom, follow you because you're solving real problems, meeting real needs, and creating real impact. Here's the hook. Money is a byproduct of value, not effort. You don't get paid because you worked hard. You get paid because your work mattered. You get paid because your skill solved a problem. You get paid because your product or service improved someone's life. And here's where most people miss it. They try to look valuable instead of being valuable. They dress up the surface but ignore the substance. But people can feel the difference. The market can feel the difference. And the truth is, no amount of hype can replace real, tangible value. Creating value starts with a question: how can I help? How can I improve this process? How can I make this experience smoother? How can I solve this pain point? How can I make someone's life easier, better, or more successful today? When you live with that question at the center of your actions, you become magnetic. You become someone people want to work with, buy from, partner with, and promote. You become indispensable, not because you begged for attention, but because you earned trust through contribution. Here's another hook. The world doesn't reward takers. It rewards givers who think smart. That doesn't mean letting people walk all over you. It means operating with the mindset that value attracts opportunity. Every person you meet is a chance to serve. Every project you take on is a chance to elevate. Every challenge is a chance to create. The moment you stop chasing applause and start chasing impact, your life changes because you've moved from ego to excellence. When you obsess over value, you start asking different questions. How can I scale this impact? How can I automate this result? How can I make this solution so good it sells itself? That's how great businesses are born. That's how reputations are built. Not by being loud, but by being legendary. Quietly consistent, quietly brilliant, quietly impactful. Until the results speak so loudly, the world can't ignore you. And let's talk about the mindset behind value creation. It's not about having the most resources. It's about being resourceful. You might not have all the tools yet, but you can develop the skill. You might not have the connections, but you can create the network. You might not have the platform, but you can build it by serving first. That's the secret weapon of every empire. Obsession with value, the desire to over-deliver, to be so good they can't look away, to be the person or the brand that people trust when it matters most. And when you operate from that level of integrity, consistency, and creativity, you don't just compete, you dominate. You don't just participate in the marketplace. You redefine it. You can have the best ideas in the world, the most powerful vision, and the boldest goals. But if you're not consistent, none of it will matter. Consistency is the ultimate separator. It's what transforms amateurs into professionals, dreamers into doers, and intentions into results. Everyone starts excited. Everyone has motivation on day one. But the ones who win, they're the ones who keep showing up on day 10, on day 100, and on day 1,000. Especially when the motivation is gone, the results are delayed, and the struggle feels unbearable. Because here's the truth: consistency is more powerful than intensity. You don't need to go all out once. You need to go all in daily. Here's the hook: average people dabble, but high performers deliver. Daily, they don't rely on moods. They don't wait to feel ready. They've made consistency a discipline, not a decision. It's built into their identity. They don't negotiate with the voice that says, skip it today. They've trained their mind to show up, no matter what. That's the real flex, not perfection, but persistence. The world doesn't reward your potential. It rewards your patterns. It rewards what you do consistently, not occasionally. You see, most people overestimate what they can do in a week and underestimate what they can do in a year of focused, consistent action. It's the compound effect in motion, the power of stacking effort day after day until momentum takes over. It's not about going viral. It's not about quick wins. It's about doing the boring work brilliantly. The behind, the scenes grind, the unseen reps, the daily decisions to get a little better. That's where transformation happens, not in the big moments, but in the micro habits repeated with relentless focus. Here's another hook. Consistency builds trust, with others and with yourself. Every time you follow through, you reinforce the belief that you're capable. Every day you execute your habits, you cast a vote for the person you're becoming. And eventually, the world starts to notice. Opportunities find you, people trust you, success sticks because it's built on a foundation that can't be shaken. Not talent, not hype, but pure, unshakable discipline. The greats aren't always the most talented. They're the most consistent. They've mastered the art of showing up, even when it's inconvenient, uncomfortable, or unrewarding. They know that consistency is a habit you earn, not once, but every day. And the more you show up, the easier it becomes. You build rhythm, you build identity, you build unstoppable momentum. Every step, no matter how small, adds weight to your progress. You don't need to sprint. You need to keep moving. Consistency turns chaos into clarity. It turns confusion into confidence. It's the glue that holds your strategy, mindset, and goals together. Without it, even the best plans fall apart. With it, even imperfect plans produce results. Consistency is what bridges the gap between your current self and your highest self. It's what transforms a scattered life into a structured one. It's the silent driver behind every legendary success story. Because when you're consistent, you don't just chase greatness, you become it.